So step one is going to be cleaning the electrode before we do the MIP decomposition. So I have a gold working electrode here. I'm going to take it out of its container. And we're going to start by rubbing it in small circles on this microfiber pad. There is alpha luminous slurry on top of this powder here. You can see this is plenty for now, but if you need more, you can just add a little bit from this container here. So we're going to start by just going in little circles here for about 3 to 5 minutes, just to polish the end. So we're done with sonicating, so we're going to take the MIP over to the nitrogen tank and turn it on just a little bit. And we're going to spray with nitrogen gas until it's dry. So now we're going to electrochemically clean the electrode. So I have here the working electrode, a reference electrode right here, and the counter electrode. So we're going to go ahead and set up the cell. I'm going to wipe off the reference electrode with a chem wipe with ultra pure water on it. And add the counter electrode. And we want the base of all three to be at about the same height. And then here I have 0.5 molar sulfuric acid that we're going to use to clean the electrode. So I'm going to add that here to the glass cell. And we're going to lower the 3 electrodes in. Here we want to make sure that the tips of all 3 electrodes are immersed. You can kind of see that at the front here. And that the cell is kind of in the center of all 3 electrodes. Great. So now we're going to connect the electrodes. So we're going to start with the white here. This is for the reference electrode. So I'm going to connect that here, like this. Then I'm going to take the working electrode, which is the green, and attach that to the working electrode. And finally, we have the counter electrode here, which is red. And we're going to connect this last. And it's really important here that the electrode connectors don't touch each other. So you might have to do some rearranging. I'm going to kind of pull this over there. Good. So there's no touching between them. And then I'm going to clarify once again that all ends are submerged. There's no contact between them. This all looks good. So now we're going to come over to the computer and open this app right here, CH Instruments. And we're going to begin by running an OCP. So I'm going to click on this T up here. And I'll see OCP, open circuit potential at the bottom. And we're basically going to run this to find the equilibrium voltage of the cell. So I'm going to do this for a minute. So I'm going to type in 60, click OK, and then press go or run. And this should appear like this. And you'll see it tracking across the screen. We're done. So I'm going to click down here, kind of close the page and open it again, and we'll get a graph here. So this we can use to see what the initial equilibrium value is. So I'm going to find a point kind of halfway up this line, move across. So I'm going to say it's about 0.333 or so right in here. So I'm going to make note of that. And now we're going to run a CV. So we're going to come back here to the technique button, and we see CV at the top, cyclic voltammetry. I'm going to click on that. And so for this initial E value, we're going to use the voltage value that we got from our OCP. So in this case, I'm going to use 0.333. For the cleaning step, we're going to alternate between a high voltage of 1 and a low voltage of 0, so we can keep that as is. This is all good. We're going to come get down to the scan rate, and our scan rate is going to be 0.05 volts per second. Sweep segments here. We're going to actually run this for 30 minutes. I'm going to put 500 in here, but basically we're just going to go for a time amount here. So I'm going to come down to sensitivity, and and our sensitivity is going to be 10 to the negative 5. So this is all set up here. So I'm going to click OK. Again, check over here on my electrode, make sure everything is submerged, there's no contact between any of the electrodes, looks like we're good. So now I can come back to the computer and press run. So now I'm going to take note of time, and in 30 minutes I will stop the CV. So we've just finished electrochemically cleaning the electrode, and now it's time for the electropolymerization. So we went ahead and cleaned all 3 electrodes here, and we also cleaned the glass cell. And I have my solution here. It's 2:1 acetate methanol with the OPD and the PFOS. I'm going to go ahead and take this off, and just to note, we've just dripped this with nitrogen for about 15 minutes to keep out the oxygen. So I'm going to pour that in to the plate here. And we're going to lower our electrodes into the cell. Again, I'm going to double check that all electrodes are immersed, that there's no contact between them at the bottom or the top here. That looks good to me. So now we're going to come back over here to our computer. We're going to start with an OCP. So I'm going to click the technique button. At the bottom here you see open circuit potential. And we're going to do 60 seconds here just to come up with the the equilibrium voltage. So we have here the finished OCP, and we're going to find the equilibrium voltage by taking kind of the center of the chart and coming over to the left here. So we're going to say it's about 0.037 or so. So we're going to take that value and apply that to the cyclic voltammetry, the CV, as our initial voltage. So again, up top here, we're going to put 0.037 as our initial E. The high for this part is going to be 1. The low E is 0. We're going to have a scan rate also of 0.05 as we had before. This time the sweep segments, we're going to have 25 for the electropolymerization, and the sensitivity we're going to keep at 10 to the negative 5. So we're all set here. Press OK. Again, check the cell over here. Check the contact, check everything is immersed, looks good, no contact up top. So now we're gonna go ahead and press run. So we just finished the electropolymerization step, and now we're gonna move on to the template removal. This is basically removing the analyte molecule from the sensor before we actually use it as a sensor and take electrochemical measurements. So to begin with, we're gonna just rinse it with pure water. And then from there, I have here a solution of 1:1 methanol and water. And I have a stir rod in there. And we're just going to soak it in this solution for about 10 minutes. And I have the stir bar at a rate of about 60 rotations per minute. So 10 minutes are up. We're now going to rinse the electrode with that same 1:1 methanol water solution. Just like this. And then now, we're going to switch to a solution of just pure water. Now we're going to spin the electrode in the water for about 40 minutes. So I'm going to lower it in here, make sure the tip is immersed, and then I'm going to keep the stir bar at about 60 rotations per minute and leave this for 40 minutes. And the final step here is to dry the electrode with nitrogen gas, like we did earlier. Now you are ready to test.